This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today our guest is Dr. Natwar Ghandi, the Chief Financial Officer for the District of Columbia. He manages the district's financial operations. He will be discussing the topics of District of Columbia's financial operations and district's economy. Before I talk to Dr. Ghandi, I want to shake his hand because he's a source of inspirations to all of us, a source of strength and courage to our community, to our country, to our nation. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your personal journey from India to America. It has been a remarkable success story. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what kind of things you're involved in terms of art and in terms of music and in terms of the culture. Both of us share a common destiny, a common history, and a common heritage. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
And that is indeed true. My story is a story of an immigrant in this country. And, like many of us, I had come here to study and found it too good to leave. This country, this society, people have been generous and I basically decided to make my life here. And that is indeed the story of immigrants in this country, that this country gives them an opportunity to remake their lives.
So this is a part of American dream.
Absolutely right. And
reaffirms the notion that anything can happen in America.
That is indeed true.
That America is a land of opportunity.
And to supplement that point that you make, Mr. Islam, imagine this. I'm a first-generation Asian immigrant with accent, and still Chief Financial Officer of the nation's capital.
Because you're smart, because you do hard work, you're able to pursue your dream because you aim high and work hard. And that's what this country is all about.
And let us not forget that it is also because in this country, it matters what you do, how good you are, what you do, not at who you are.
Regardless of color, creed.
And indeed, it is indeed a land of opportunity. It's generosity that opens its hearts, opens its door, and welcomes people from all around the world of various tribes, various color, various talents, and gives them opportunity to remake their life. And that's what exactly
That's what makes this country so great.
It is right.
Well, let me get to some of the questions that I'm sure our audience is very interested. Are you seeing the effects of the recession in the finances of the district?
Yes, I do. I just want to point out that because of the recession, which has been the deepest and the widest since the Great Depression, I would call it the Great Recession, that we have been experiencing over the last 2 years, we have basically removed from our revenues, that is, we're going to collect less revenue, about $600 million in 2009, about $1 billion in 2010, $1 billion in 2011, and $1 billion in 2012. It's a substantial decline in our revenues, though nowhere near what you have seen in California, in New York, in Florida, in Arizona, other places. But all I want to assure you that because of the leadership of the mayor and the council, despite the losses in revenues, we will balance our budget.
Which is a great thing to do, considering you just mentioned about California, which is pretty much broke.
It is right.
What has the district done so far to close budget gap?
What we have done is, fundamentally, we have not raised any major taxes, income taxes, real property taxes.
Do you spend less now?
Oh, exactly right. So what we have basically done is that we are spending less, and also we have been using some of the savings that we have generated over the last several years. Please remember that mid-90s, when city was near bankruptcy, we had about $500 million deficit in our fund balance, meaning that we have negative savings of $500 million. In 2005, we achieved about $1.5 billion in our fund balance. So a journey of $500 million deficit to $1.5 billion surplus in our fund balance. So $2 billion turnaround. Other cities such as New York, Philadelphia, that have gone through this so-called financial hardship, control board experiences, none has been able to come back as well and as fast as the district has. And that is because of the fiscal prudence and the financially responsible budgeting of our elected leadership.
So what are the bigger challenges to the district generating enough revenue to meet its obligations now that you balance the budget? You talked about it. You have reduced some of the spending that you talked about it. So the next question is, how do you go about doing the questions that I just asked?
Well, the question is, how do you manage under the times of the financial adversity? But there is also what is known as a structural imbalance in the district, meaning that in larger sense, district's tax base is very limited, very constrained, and narrow because of the commuters not paying city's taxes, though still using city services. Federal government, we are very proud to have them in our nation's midst, in our nation's capital, right in our midst, still does not pay our taxes. Biggest employer in the city doesn't pay our taxes. Not only that, 12 of the largest of the 15 employers in the cities do not pay city's taxes. Hospitals, universities.
Those are tax exempt?
Those are tax exempt. Embassies, World Bank, IMF, they do not pay our taxes. So, despite having a very limited tax base, it is the fiscal prudence what really guides our financial behavior. But ultimately, Congress would have to do something about this narrow tax base that we currently face.
So you have a lot of constraints.
We do. We do.
And yet, you're doing a good job.
We are doing a very good job because of the commitment that our elected leadership, mayor and the council, have toward fiscal prudence, balanced budget.
You talked about budget imbalance about a minute ago. How have you opted to borrow your way out of budget imbalance?
Right, and we do not use the borrowing to take care of our deficits. In other words, like many jurisdictions, they borrow money to balance the budget. We do not do that. We borrow money for long-term capital investment, roads, bridges, technology, schools, recreation centers. For that, we borrow money externally, about $500 million a year. But we basically try to limit our spending to the extent that we can generate our revenues. It is the responsibility of the Chief Financial Officer to certify that the budget that the mayor submits to the council is balanced, that together we submit to the Congress is also balanced, and making sure that during the year we do not spend more money than what is appropriated by the council, just to assure that we produce a balanced budget at the end of the year.